Hey, it's Don. I hope everybody is doing okay. I've got a lot of news going on videos coming up, tomorrow's live show as well. I wanted to bring this out there because I've been getting hit up by a lot of people, and this has nothing to do with anybody in here. And I know I've received some messages from people in here as well. I'm sorry, I gotta fix my keyboard. But I've gotten email messages and like people reaching out to me from even like news organizations, like big ones right now, because I write for e-commerce bites, and they're trying to get information on what's going on with INA and hoping to get some more information. I don't know what they think my relationship is or what it isn't. I've talked to her about some of these issues, you know, personally. We email back and forth. Obviously, I do stuff for the site. I'm not going to be, though, discussing it much on YouTube at all at this point. And it's not letting eBay off at all. I think everybody knows my feelings on eBay. But I have a working relationship for more than a year. We've conversed for more than a year. I've put out the option for her to come on my channel on YouTube as well and stuff like that. So I've talked to her extensively. At one point, I even did reach out to the Attorney General in the state where the initial charges against the eBay people were made, where she lives and the whole works. Because we did have a bunch of hate coming our way after something was showcased on one of her articles, one of our videos, just for those who are new and don't know that. So my history over the lawsuit issue and stuff goes back quite a ways, and I don't want anybody to ever think that I'm in cahoots with somebody, or I'm trying to be, you know, a speaker or an echo chamber for anything about it. I don't want to be lambasted for constantly putting up videos on stuff that's, I don't know, stuff that isn't helpful to you learning to resell, I guess is the point. I'm almost sure at this point from some of the comments that are left when I do those sorts of videos that eBay must have like a PR group or somebody's coming out, whether eBay tells them to or not, and putting off stuff trying to counter any of that kind of stuff, because I always get a bunch of just weird comments and stuff. I end up deleting a lot on videos when I talk about stuff and point out factual information about eBay. So I personally do feel that they have again, this is my opinion, but I do feel that they have people, PR company that they hired, maybe not directly through eBay, but that's doing stuff like that, trying to counter all of that. That's what big companies do, not just eBay, but they all do it. So anyway, I'm not going to go into too much detail on it. I pretty much know all of the little details about it. I've read up on it, you know, I've read up, you know, from the Attorney General's office and a bunch of stuff like that too. So, you know, I just think it would just be best for me to stay away until it's all settled and then go into it. Again, I don't want to be accused, and I get accused of all kinds of stuff, just crazy stuff sometimes. When you get more and more followers, you get more and more weirdos and hate sent your way. So, you know, no worries, everything's fine, but I just wanted to put that out there. I did a video live show, and Ina emailed me like literally right after the show ended and stuff. So I mean, I've discussed the issue and stuff, and I know her feelings, her standpoints, I would say, on what's going on, and I can do videos if I want. I have no agreement, or she hasn't asked me not to do this or not to do that. She's very open and very nice person. But anyway, I just wanted to put that out there because I've been getting a lot of people reaching out to me for reasons related to that article and stuff, and a lot of the stuff tied to the lawsuit. So anyway, I will end that topic there. No offense to anybody, you're welcome to reach out or anything else like that, but I'm not going to publicly address it anytime soon unless more major stuff comes up where I've got enough to push out. Now, we're also going to look today at some items posted up on the Patreon page. There's some Stereoviews up there. We're going to talk about Stereoviews for just a few minutes here also. And these are some items here that were posted, and they're Stereoviews. Now, I'm going to say this first. With Stereoviews, I almost always only buy real photos. Real photo Stereoviews are pretty much all I will almost always buy. Most of the other ones just are not worth very much at all. You know, that's just the way it is, unfortunately. Usually the real photos, if they're squared off at the top, are better ones. they're hit or miss. A lot of the ones that we're looking at right here are not going to be worth much money. Let's look up one. I've got Terapeak opened up here. Let's do Mines, and just see where we go from there. Because I bet you there'll be some up here. Now, the first one up, this is a South Dakota. It's a real photo with a train. So right off the bat, you know, the ones that are going to always show up here that are selling for good money are the ones that are real photos. Real photos. In fact, let's back up for just a second here, because I do have just Stereoview opened up. Now, just do a Stereoview search here in Terapeak. That's what I recommend everybody doing if you want to play in them. And look right off the bat. If you dig through here for the first, I don't know how many pages, it's all going to be real photos, real photo images. And that's going to be all of the high dollar ones. Every one that's high dollar is only a real photo. I can't think of any illustrations or printed images selling for any decent money. And we're on page 2. I can keep going through here. It's going to be the same basic results. Now, obviously, there's some that are actual viewers. There's some that are boxed sets. But the box sets themselves, for the most part, are all real photo also. So real photo, I would literally only try and stick to real photo no matter what. That would be my honest recommendations for anybody looking to buy Stereoviews. Do not mess with any that are not real photos. Now, very rarely do I buy one that's not a real photo that still could carry some value. The reason why that the ones are selling that they are, you know, the high prices here, is because it is a real photo. If this same image was a postcard or a cabinet card or a CDV or something, it would still sell for these sorts of money. That's just the facts of the matter here. So again, look at it yourself. All of the ones that are selling for decent money are selling for those prices, again, because they are real photos. What are we on, page 4? I could probably go in another 8 pages or maybe even more than that. And you can see they're going for hundreds. But again, going back to the topic, it's real photos. I don't want to mislead anybody in anything or any way, shape, or form. Now, there are like daguerreotypes. This is a daguerreo that they took 2 images of with 2 daguerreo cameras, and they made a Stereoview. So Stereoviews go back even farther than typical. But again, they're real photos. A ambrotype, a daguerreotype, any of those are actual photographs. They are considered as such. So again, that goes back to the point here. You'll be hard pressed to find any that you know, any of these that will sell that are, you know, just an image, just a printed image. California as well, as you can see, Santa Monica. I just sold a card from Santa Monica, actually. Place of origin as well. Now, looking through here, like I talk about keywords. Keyword is a state, is a city, is a name of a company. So they'll list the city, San Jose, California, Texas, Carlton Watkins. So they'll list the names, the cities. All that stuff is listed in here. So whatever you're listing, those same terms come into play. Hayward and Muzzle, that's the name of the card printers. Santa Barbara again. So I mean, all of those are keywords also. So when you're looking for stuff, those are key factors in judging any of those. Like on this one here, it's not a good image. There's not much to it. I would still give it a chance only because of Klondike, and you can type in Gold Rush. Now, yours isn't old enough to be considered from Gold Rush time, because that would be years and years earlier than 1925 when this was printed. This is obviously what it looked like in 1925. In my mind, I wouldn't put more than, say, $19.99, maybe $24.50. Chances are you're not going to get that for it. I would be probably willing to say you'd probably get $6 or $7 for this one if you're lucky at the end of the day. My opinion, you know, but I would still probably list it only because of the mining. I would do a zoom in. The only problem with the zoom in on this, it's not. It looks to be like it's off center printed, so the color separation isn't lined up perfectly, because you can see where there's purple lined up there. There's a little purple line. So unfortunately, it's just not a great card in all honesty. Let's flip to the next one here. similar things here. It may look neat, but if this was a postcard, let's give you an example. Unless there was something cool on the back as a postcard, even from the territory of Hawaii or the country of Hawaii, it still wouldn't be worth a fortune. Just FYI, it might be a $4 or $5 postcard if it was a postcard image like the one of those. So we'll look this up just to give you another idea. Honolulu, we'll put Palm, and then we'll just leave it at that. Date Palm Avenue, Honolulu. So here's one. And this is, let's see, is there a date on yours? Probably the similar era. This one went for $1, $4 shipping. They've sent it out first class with tracking at $4. I pretty much guarantee it. So $5 card. I mean, in all honesty, that's what you're looking at on these. So be very cautious. Again, stick to the real photos. Real photos. Don't mess with anything else. Especially if you're not up on it. Again, I do buy a few that aren't real photos, but I've been buying Stereoviews for 25 or 30 years. This is one of those that would be a little different. This is not a normal Stereoview. So this one has more potential. This is probably, I've looked through your lot already, this is probably the best one you have in my book. And we're going to type in the most important aspect of this. And we're going to do this, and I'm going to cut and paste so I can back that up. Weiler, is that how it was spelled? W-E-I-L-E-R, Bros, and let's just see what we get here. It's a known company is why I say that. Nope, there is nothing up here at all other than the watch movements. So looking here, it's from the right place. They're a jeweler. We can see a piece of jewelry from them with a value. It did sell. That has nothing related. We're going to click on the active button and see what else we get. Kohler Brothers, Quincy ad. That's a print ad. Fallboard decal, nothing. Stereoview boats at the inlet, Atlantic City. Brothers Piano, Quincy. Now, this one here is listed this way. It's $3.99. They probably listed it in the Stereoview section. What I would honestly recommend you doing in this one, put Stereoview and then list this one in the Victorian trade card. I don't think there's a date on it. And I would date this to the 1890s-ish. The company had been around since probably about 1880s from what I have seen. I've got a few trade cards that we have not listed from this exact same company actually ourselves. So I can pretty much guarantee you that they were around in 1890 when this card was probably made. This would have been given away as a trade card. That is what this technically is. So I would put it in there. Weiler Brothers, Pianos, Jeweler, Quincy, Illinois, Victorian trade card, Stereoview, and that's what I would list it as in that section. I would probably list this at $34.50. Now, we did see that somebody else has one up, and it didn't sell. It was really dirt cheap. Well, they're guaranteed. Let's go back and look at that one, just to give you an idea here. Because my guess is, it could be the same one. Yeah, this one's not numbered, so I don't see a number. Where are they getting the number, the date, I guess is my point. Let's flip back over here. I don't see a date on this one that I'm aware of. This is definitely Victorian era printing style, yet I don't see any date on this. So where are they getting the date from, I guess is my point. 1904, 1904. Yeah, I don't see anywhere they're actually getting that time frame. You've got a Victorian trade card Stereoview. Again, $34.50 or so would be what I would put on this one here. Market it as that. And let's say do a zoom in here. Do Weiler Brothers, Quincy, and just crop it off like this. Crop it off just at the top of the standing up woman's head. Crop it down so you can see the Quincy and the Weiler Brothers. I think that would probably be your best bet. I might even say add the word globe. It's probably a lamp, but it does look like it could be a globe. Stuff like that does tend to sell stuff better. So that, in my opinion, is the best one you got. This one, again, this is a dime a dozen. I don't know how many sets have something similar to this in it. I've seen dozens of this one as well. It's very common. As a postcard, this wouldn't have been worth much at all. I wouldn't have bought it because it's a mass-produced area. If it's a small town, really rinky-dink town, you've never heard of it, it's not on a map anymore, those would be the ones that would be more sought after. Cliff house, very common. Now this is California, but there's nothing visual in here. This is just the waters off of the cliff house, which was destroyed and then rebuilt up from a bottom section during, I think, the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, if I'm not mistaken. It goes like the movie Lost Boys, I think, touches on it. I think that's supposed to be the same hotel, maybe, or something along that line. I'm not sure the whole story, but either way, this one's not going to be worth it either. So far, all the ones other than the ones I've hauled out with prices are the ones you'd want to mess with. Again, same thing here. This is from a set. It's creased so bad right there. I would bet a couple folds and that one might just fall apart. The corners are damaged, the edge chipped up. Even if this was worth $5 or $10, the condition pretty much kills it as well. If it was a real photo, a different story. If this is a real photo of artillery passing through, and you could see the soldiers in their uniforms, that would be totally different. But it's so nondescript. It could be anything, and they could label it infantry, they could label it Navy sailors marching or anything. You'd never know. So that wouldn't be worth it. Now this is a real photo here, but on this one here, Colombo, I can't remember I think that's Italy. That looks like Italy. Let's look that up as well. So we're going to look up, in fact, I think we can just back up here. Well, actually, I did that. So what do we got? Colombo, yeah, my typing sometimes terrible. My vision doesn't help it, so let's go from there. I think that's what it's spelled. Nothing wrong with bouncing back and forth if I get the spelling wrong. So that does look to be it. So again, we can get it. Ceylon is where it's saying it's at. So is that correct? So, Colombo Harbor from the landing. Those are sold. Again, look at the prices. They're just not worth much. So it's a real photo, but it's overseas. Who's going to buy a stereo view are mostly U.S. citizens. Mostly folks from the U.S. buy stereo view. There are some British ones that sell also, but they're few and far between from my personal experience. So just take that to heart. You're not going to sell many Ford ones at all. I very rarely sell ones, unless, say, it's from like 1876 World's Fair in Paris or it's something like that. Other than that, you're not going to sell them, even if they are real photos. Try to stick to U.S. real picture, real photos. That would be my personal opinion. If this was a cruise ship, it might have some potential. If this was a railroad line in Colombo, it would hold some value. Now, there might be some Gale Face Hotel. Let's look up Gale Face Hotel, too, just while we're here. I don't want to miss any aspect. We're not going to do stereo view either. We're going to do just that, because maybe we can market it by hotel, but I'm going to think not. Gale Face Hotel. So even as a hotel, you can see they just don't sell. And it is, I would say it is Ceylon also by what I see. There's not going to be many people that are going to collect something from Ceylon. I can tell it's a British group as well. You can tell by their hats, their explorer-style helmets. It's just more like a tourist thing, too. So those aren't worth money. Not worth money, not worth money. This one, let's look up the name of the railroad, too, because I'm not familiar. It looks like it's in Spain or something. Maybe it's in Philippine Islands, even. Ibra. So let's just type in the one word. Again, I try to use as few words as I can to look up anything. That's just my take on it. So now we're going to have to do category here just to make sure. So we're going to do collectibles. Let's expand out collectibles. Photographic. So there is some photos. So let's go by that. Let's just see what we get. Loading music station, Panama. So there we go, Panama. SS Panama Canal. So these are stereo views too. It's not a real photo is my only concern. There's nothing interesting in it. Again, this one's early. This one has a train in it. All real photos, as you see. Real photos, real photos. Again, that's what you're going to find. It's all going to be real photos. There's damage on it too, some bad staining. It looks like you probably have some top edge chips also. It's just nothing too appealing at all in this image, in all honesty. If this was in U.S. somewhere, this was a postcard or a real photo of those chickens in a basket, you may have had $5-10 if you're lucky. So you got to be careful if you're not up on this area, and I say that because a lot of people make similar mistakes. I made these exact same type of mistakes when I was trying to figure out what to buy, but I only center in, as I said many times, on the real photo, real picture, Stereoviews. It's all that's worth money. The rest of them just aren't going to sell very much at all. You might get one that's worth 10 or 15 bucks, but if you got to buy 50 to find that one, again, it's not going to be worth it. So I would stick to those. Military is always good. This is probably similar. Panama, Philippines, or something. Again, it's nondescript. I can't tell what the equipment is. It could be a train, but there's no way to tell. It's not listed as such. This is going to be another one of those. It's just not going to be worth much money. French machinery, no one's just going to care about. If it was something specific, a specific railroad, a specific line, and it was a real photo, again, then it may be worth something. But this is very nondescript. Java, again, you run into the same issues, and the condition on this one is just horrid. So far too many creasings and stuff. I can get away with a crease somewhat on a postcard, but in a stereo view, someone's going to want to look through it and view it to see it. And damage like this, I would not mess with any that have this type of damage unless it's a real picture, real photo, when it's a really, really nice looking image that's got some value. Other than that, I wouldn't mess with it. Duck hunting, again, nothing descriptive. It doesn't say where it's at. There's no people. It's later. It's not a real photo. If this was a real photo, stereo view, and it was duck hunters close up and you could see their guns, they had a bunch of ducks, you may get $5 or $10 again. You may. It's going to be a long tail item, but you have potential. This again would be one of those that's just not going to sell very well. All the other ones, I'm telling you that aren't worth much. I just throw them in a lot and list them up for like $10, $15 or something. That would be my take. Same thing on this one here. This is a very common. Like if this is a postcard and it just says Shanghai, you're not going to get much out of it. Bubbling well. We'll look this up. It'll be easy, I think, on this one. Oops. Let me go back and Bubbling Well Road, and I think that's what it was. So we're talking about a specific place. So we're just going to go from here and just see what happens. House order menu, Bubbling Well Road. So we're going to type in stereo view. I'm iffy on whether one will show up on here. Yep, in fact, there are a few. So you've got maybe a little potential. Yeah, see this top one here? It's a market scene. Totally different. So $6, $7 for a market scene. Here's your same card right here. Here's your same card. So you've got $4.51 and then $2. So $6.50 shipped out the door. This was a year ago too. Who knows how long it was up before it sold also. This one's got 2 and it only sold for $7.80. So you might list it. You're going to have to market it as Bubbling Well Road, Shanghai. Maybe put cart or they taxied people around on these things too. So word it right. You may get $5 for it. I mean, I wouldn't think you'd get much more than that. $5 or $10 would be max. Anything else like that, and it's going to be the road that sells it. Nothing else. If this didn't say Bubbling Well Road on there, I doubt it would be worth anything. If it just said street scene, Shanghai, it wouldn't be worth listing. This is a very specific location. Again, just like I said with keywords. What's a keyword? It's a location. It's where this is at, Bubbling Well Road. If it said the name of the guy who's pushing the cart, that would have to go in the title as well too. So, that's the ploy on this one here. Let's see what else we got here. Again, this one's not going to be worth very much. You'll be lucky for a $5 card at best. I personally don't think that's going to be plausible. You may be able to market as Buddhist monks or something in the clouds on Mount Fujiyama, Japan, stereo view or something like that. $5 maybe. Maybe put $9.99. It's going to be a long tail item, I would say, either way. Yeah, again, I might put these two together, this one and that other one there, and try and get $14 or $14.50 list price. Hope to get $7 to say $9 maybe for the two of them. Let's see here, and we're back to here. So that's my take on Stereoviews. You've got to be very careful on Stereoviews. The ones I showed in the last video, if you noticed, were all real photo. That was the key. Just like a real picture, real photo postcard is worth more than just a regular postcard. It's the same basic principle in Stereoviews. There could be 100 different images like this that are only worth $1 or $2 because, again, they're just printed. But if it was a real photo, you could have, hundreds of dollars off of real photo versus this here. So I also wanted to talk just a minute here about keywords in general. Now, yesterday we did just over $1,200. As you can see here, this is yesterday's sales on just the store I'm sharing with you. But value-wise is there. This isn't a ton of merchandise, as you can see. Now, a couple of them, some people bought more than one. So I don't know. I think there was like 20 different items just on this one store account right here. But it's value. I don't really care how many sells. What I care about is the actual value of the items itself. The point, though, is keywords are the essential part of listing these. Now, a lot of these items were just listed. I mean, literally just listed in the last couple of days. So factor-wise, keywords again. With keywords, I've told you what's important here. The last name. Now, the last name is way down here on the back, on the very bottom of this piece. That is who actually produced this or who is giving this card away. I might have been able to actually get a little more out of this card, but there's no known examples selling this high, so I priced it well above what other folks had. Now, I have another one of these, which I will price higher. But that is why someone bought this. They bought it because of where it's from. Now, again, keywords. What do I tell you? Dating stuff is huge. If this was just Rowley and Dunshee, Santa Barbara, and I couldn't date it, I had no idea. It could have been from the 20s, for all someone would know. And that's not going to be old, early, and collectible like this one here is. It sold for full price. You can see the start date here was the day before. It was just listed hours before it sold. Again, Santa Barbara, California, that's a keyword. I put that over the actual piece of the advertisement. This is a St. Jacobs oil. It's a great German remedy, quack oil. And what most people would assume is that's what should advertise, the St. Jacobs oil German remedy. That's not the most important thing. The most important thing is the Rowley and Dunshee, and that it's from Santa Barbara, California, as well as being 1890. I could have probably just left off the St. Jacobs oil part and sold it just as easily. So keywords, again, and they're all to the left. So if this was on someone's phone, it's going to get cut off like right here. You might see the ST and nothing else. So all the keywords that are important have to be to the far left. It's why this sold for $45. If this was a normal St. Jacobs card or I didn't list where it was from, these go for $8. 10, 12 on a very, very good day with something unique. But again, I've used the best possible keywords, which are the names of the businesses. A historical group would want something like this. The location is the key. And that's the case with most vintage items. Another example here. This is for the Territorial Fair from Phoenix, Arizona from October of 1888. It was not a state. In 1888, at this time, Phoenix was not the state capital either. It was moved later on. It's got some interesting information on the back. Now, I have, I think the same person bought 9 of these cards. I think all told it was 700 and some odd bucks with shipping and all. 9 of these cards for $70 plus a piece. And they were just listed, as you can see, on July 29th. Just listed, and they sold that quick. Now, I sold a couple other ones of the State Fair, Arizona Territory, just before this in that same price range as well. So for 10 cards, I almost got $1,000 out of these 10 cards that we sold already. So, again, keywords. It's the date. It's 1888's key. Phoenix, Arizona Territorial Fair. H. Shoemaker. None of the other aspects are as important as that. Girl in the field, yeah, who cares? It's not the point. All the other aspects. Territorial items sell extremely well. Phoenix, excellent example. Phoenix was not part of the capital, wasn't the state. It was just a territory. Who knows what would have happened to it? So that's, again, keywords all the way to the left. Dates first. Another one here. This is bought by someone who's bought, I don't know, hundreds of cards from me. This again was just listed August 3rd yesterday. Full price $37.50. Now these are fairly common cards. I've dated them correctly. NK Fairbanks is the manufacturer. Claret soap is the key part of this too. They all have similar backs. They're all from the same series, maybe not the same set. So a good sale here. Again, keywords. I've got good keywords across the board. So it's going to cut off somewhere in the word child, probably if it's on your phone and you're sorting looking for this in your phone. So all the keywords are in the right spot. So not only do you need to worry about having the right keywords, but you should always make sure that they are all the way to the left. Another one here. And this one was up only for overnight. It wasn't even up for a day. And this is just, again, from stuff from one store from just yesterday, to give you an example here. So again, I've got all the key aspects in it. We've got the zoom in. The candle, I would say, is a little push for it, at least the image. I've got the dates first, round oak stove, PD Beckwith. All of that's good information. That's what you want. It's going to cut off somewhere in this range here. Now, if I didn't have the word candle in the title, it may not matter because you could see it on my zoom in very clearly. It's a unique, interesting image for sure. So that's why this one did well. Now I've got a postcard here. Now this one's just a vintage one. Now sometimes I don't date the card because people will bypass looking at it if they see that it's 20s or 30s. They may only want an image that's earlier, or that's what they think they want. So many times I'll just put vintage. If you put vintage, someone can assume that, well, maybe it's a 1910, maybe it's a real early one. I don't know. I need to look at it. So that's a key push to it, especially when you've got a zoom in. They can't tell. So that'll hopefully bring them in to at least look at the postcard itself. It did sell for what you see. It wasn't up for very long either. So again, title, Cabrillo Beach, important, most important, San Pedro. The only other thing I would say that may have been needed in here is pavilion and boardwalk. But again, I can't say. That might be a dance something. I don't even know if that is a pavilion, but chances are it is, and that is a boardwalk. But other than that, the image would sell it. The beach name we did look up, so that's why I was pushing for this card. This is one of those just cheapo 1920s cards. In the past, I normally wouldn't list it, but considering one of my guys can list 40, 45 on a good day in an hour, it pays to list even these cheaper cards like this. Now, one last item here, a roller skating label. Dating it. It's always important. I get asked all the time, and when I didn't put stuff like that in there, is it real? When was it made? Again, I eliminate the questions and the need for questions on that. I've got the date. Grotto Rollercade, the most important aspect, the name. Now, what many other people may not think is to go ahead and put the city in there. The city has to be in there. So it's going to cut off somewhere in here. Elmira, it would be shown, hopefully, and then New York. Label, vintage, and category. But again, keywords, all the same. And that's a big plus. This one, it's a little hard to do a zoom in. So a zoom in wasn't really done very well. I don't know how else you do it. This is probably from the 1940s, the V for victory if you caught on to that. But again, keywords are important. Pay attention to all of these sorts of things when you're doing your title. I always have the age of the item all the way to the left. The very first thing, they don't want something that's newer. And most people don't want those newer items. They want vintage and vintage specifically. So anyway, hopefully that helps a little more with these keywords. I'm going to try and keep hammering keywords. I do have a SEO keyword video coming out still this week, I do believe. So anyway, that's about it for today. Well, there you have it. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, I do what I can. My time these days has just gotten horrendously. Once school's back in, college starts back up, I'll have less people working, so my time will be a little freer. So I'll hopefully be able to address things quicker. I truly and honestly and sincerely thank everybody for your kind support.